And I'm going to teach you today how to use your brain. I'm going to give you 30 years of therapy in less than an hour. And if you do what I tell you to do, I promise you it will completely change your life. Your brain should be your best friend. It should be your cheerleader. It should be your PA. It should work for you every day. So put your hand up if that's what happens. If your brain is your best friend and does what you want, put your hand up. Okay, I can't see all of you, but I can see a lot of you not putting your hand up. I've been a therapist for a long time, and when I was in school, my teacher said, well, Marisa, the brain is very complicated, and it really takes a lifetime to work out your brain, and then it takes another lifetime to make it work for you. I'm like, really? Well, I don't know anyone that has 2 lifetimes, and how can that be? At the end of my life, on my deathbed, I go, yay, I finally cracked how my brain works. Oh, what a shame. I don't have enough time to put that into practice. Couldn't be. Nature would never be so silly that at the end of our life, it explains to us finally how our mind works. I'm going to tell you 3 things about your mind, and if you use them, you can have anything that you want. So let me start with the first one. This is very important. Your mind's job is not to make you happy. If you think that's your mind's job, you're going to be unhappy, because your mind has a very important job. It's to keep you alive on the planet, actually against impossible odds. So how your mind keeps you alive is it listens to the words you say. So let's give you an example. You drive to work every day and you go, oh my God, this traffic is killing me. My boss is driving me crazy. My kids are making me go wild. I'm at my maximum bandwidth. Now, if you drive to work saying, this traffic is killing me, my boss is a nightmare, my job is driving me crazy, your brain starts to think, something is killing you, driving you crazy. Oh, it's your job. Well, better not go to that job anymore. But you seem to still go to that place that's killing you. Why don't I just make you sick? And I never have to go there again. Why don't I give you an ulcer or migraines or panic attacks? And so the brain will start to do that. And if you ignore it, it just does it more and more. Who here has ever said to themselves, what I would give for a week in bed? I'm so overworked. I just want a week lying around, and your brain goes, leave that with me. And the next week you get the flu. Anyone done that? A really bad cold, because your mind listens. You want a week off in bed. Here's the flu, which is not what you wanted at all. And even if you say things like, I'm dreading next week. I told my boss that I would chair a meeting, and I wish I hadn't, and I'd give anything not to go. Your brain goes, I'll just make you so sick you can't even leave the house. So if you haven't got what you want, it's because you're not giving your brain very good messages. So I want you to think about this. If there's anything in your life that you haven't got, being motivated, putting yourself first, believing in yourself, I promise you, it's because your brain thinks you don't want that at all. And if there are things you'd love to have that you haven't got, and if there are other things you have got, like procrastinating and not believing in yourself, your mind thinks actually you like those things. So you've got to be very careful how you dialogue with your brain. I'm going to show you how to do that in just a minute. But the most important thing is your mind does what it really, really, really thinks you want it to do, and it's always acting in your best interest, even when it's not in your best interest at all. So the best example I can think of is, let's imagine this is a classroom of children, and you've got to read a word out loud, and you're reading bridge, the word bridge, and you're like 6, and you get to bridge, and it's got a D in it, and you go bridge, and everyone in the class laughs, and goes, well, you can't even say the word bridge. And your mind starts to look at what's causing you this embarrassment, this stress. Oh, it's being in front of people. It's opening my mouth and speaking in front of an audience. Never do that again. And now you start to say things like, I'll never do that again. I'll never speak in public again. I'll never draw attention to myself again. And of course, you're 6. When you're 36, you've forgotten. And then you go to speak on stage, and a little voice in your head goes, oh, no, don't do that. Remember when you were 6? Or maybe it just says, don't do that. So your mind is acting off old information. And what happens is one of three things. Either you go, oh no, I can't speak in public, oh, I just can't do that, and you don't. Or you try very hard, but all the time you're anxious, you're nervous, you're taking beta blockers. Or the third way, you say to your brain, I want this, I've chosen this, I like this. This thrills me, this elates me, this delights me, this sets me on fire. And then your brain goes, really? Okay, well, that's very clear to me. So that's what will happen. And all the resistance goes away. But it's down to you to say that. I've chosen this. I've chosen to feel great about it. And I want you to remember this. It's very important. You can say whatever you like to yourself, because you have choice. You can say, that's killing me, that's a nightmare, that's a disaster. But you know what you can't choose? What happens to your body when you say, I'm at my maximum bandwidth, I'm dying under the stress, I'm falling apart under the pressure. So you can choose to say those words, but you can't choose what it does to your body. So why don't you choose to say, I love this, I like it, I've chosen it. And I'm going to give you a sentence that will change your life. I have chosen to do this, and I've chosen to feel great about it. So if you're building your own business and you're going to spend all weekend working on your website, you can choose to go, this is hell, this is so unfair, everyone else is out partying, I've got to work on this website all weekend and it's stressing me out. Or you can go, yay, this is great, this is my business, I want to work all weekend on my website. I'm choosing it, and I'm choosing to feel great about it. Because I promise you, your mind does not care if what you tell it is good or bad, right or wrong, healthy or unhealthy. It doesn't even care if it's true. It lets it all in. So let me show you how that works. So I want you all to just imagine that you're holding in your hand a big fat slice of lemon, just like this. So put your hand in front of your mouth, just like I'm doing. Put your hand right in front of your mouth right now. Look at the slice of lemon. Imagine you have that in your hand. Remember, your mind doesn't care if it's real or false, it will let it in. So close your eyes, hold your big slice of lemon in front of your mouth. Open your mouth, keep your eyes closed. Push that lemon into your mouth and start eating it. Suck out the juice. Chew that lemon. Start to swallow the flesh. Just do it. Because here's the thing, you don't want to see this and hear it, you want to do it. Seeing is believing. So eat the lemon, close your eyes and keep eating that lemon. And most of you will notice that as you even think about eating a lemon, what's happening? Well, you're pumping out saliva. Your mind's going, oh my God, you're eating a lemon. That's very acidic for your tooth enamel. Let's make lots of saliva to wash it away. So open your eyes. There's no lemon. Your mind doesn't care. And even doing that little test and maybe keeping a picture of a lemon on your desk will remind you, be very careful what you tell your mind. Tell it great things, you'll get great things. Let's do another one. Everybody stand up. And I want you to take your left arm and point it towards me. So now, I can't see all of you because of the light, but we're going to do this. So just practice not poking your neighbor in the eye. So when you're ready, everyone point your left arm towards me, and all you're going to do is this. You're going to push your arm as far back behind you as it will go. Do it now. And I want you to mark it. Mark exactly where your arm has gone to behind you. Just make a note. Bring it back. Drop your arm down. Close your eyes, and you're going to see how dialoguing with your mind works. So with your eyes closed, and you must keep your eyes closed, I want you to tell your arm to go a third further. I want you to say to your arm, when I repeat this exercise, you will go a third further. And now I want you to see all the muscles in your arm opening up like elastic, like cooked spaghetti. So again, tell your arm you will go a third further. See it going a third further. Open your eyes. Put your arm out, look at your arm and say to your arm, you will go a third further. And now watch as it does just that. Take your arm behind you, knowing it's going to go a third further. And watch as it goes more than a third further, because you told it to. Let's do the other one. Right arm up. Push it behind you as far as it will go. Please make sure to mark how far your arm has gone. Bring it back. Drop your arm down. Close your eyes and talk to your arm. How crazy is that? You're going to talk to your arm, but it's going to do what you say. You can talk to any part of your body, your heart, your lungs, your metabolic rate, your stomach, your digestion, and tell it to work perfectly, and it will. Tell your arm, you will go a third further. You're super flexible. I'm like a rubber bendy doll with a flexible arm. See it going further. Open your eyes, look at your finger, and now tell it to go a third further. Tell your arm to go a third further. And just watch again as it goes a whole third further and beyond, because you told it to. And now take a seat. Now you see, you can all be led off with saying, I didn't know that before. That's cool, but you know it now. So before, you could be allowed to say, I'm a loser, I can't remember anything, my mind's like a sieve. You can't say that anymore. From today, you know your mind does what you tell it to do. So don't go, if I look at that cake, I'll get fat. Say, my metabolism is so great, I burn it all off. I haven't had enough sleep, so I can't function. I can function on 5 hours sleep or 4 sometimes. Tell your brain better things and you will get a better life. So now you understand the first rule of the mind does what you tell it to. So you better tell it better stuff. Second thing of the mind, really simple. It responds to 2 things: the pictures you make in your head and the words you say to yourself. He says, if I was about to shove a needle in my arm right now and was going, oh, that needle's going to hurt, I'd have a different image to someone who's saying, well, you know, I'm a bodybuilder and I'm going to win Mr. Universe. Or if I was in real pain, I would welcome that needle because it would take the pain away. If I was a drug addict, I'd be absolutely thrilled to shove that in my arm. I wouldn't go, or hurt. I would go, yay, I'm going to be off my head in 2 minutes. Bring it on. So you can choose all the time. Your mind responds to the pictures you make and the words you say. And if you change the pictures and change the words, it changes your entire life. And those words, I'm choosing to do this, I'm choosing to feel great about it, signal to your brain, oh, you have a choice, and you're making a choice, and you like the choice, so I don't have to bring up any resistance. If you say, I hate going to the gym, I hate living on lettuce, I hate working weekends, your brain goes, I'm going to stop that right now. But when you go, no, I love it, love it, love it, want it, want it, want it, chosen it, chosen it, chosen it, your brain goes, I'm going to fill you up with energy to go to the gym, and you can love lettuce if you want to or not. And the third thing about the mind, and it's the one that therapists find the most perplexing, is your mind loves what is familiar. It doesn't really like what is unfamiliar. And you can't beat that, but you can work with it. So if you're brought up in a house where you never get praised, and people go, well, you're rubbish, you're useless, no one's going to look at you. And then someone says, wow, I love that talk. You go, it's terrible. Didn't you notice I forgot the best bit? No, I didn't. Oh, yes, it was dreadful. I stuttered and it all went horribly wrong. So if praise is unfamiliar, when you praise people, they reject it. If you say to someone, I love that top, they go, I've had it for 5 years. It's got a hole in it. Because what's familiar is criticism. So not only do they reject the unfamiliar praise, they add in what's familiar, criticism. Now, if you want to have high self-esteem, there's one thing that will boost your self-esteem like nothing else, and that is praising yourself. You see, if I praised you and went, oh, yes, I love your outfit and I love your talk, and would you like my book? I've got an agenda. But when you say to yourself, I did a great job, I'm really good at my job, I've got a gift, I've got a skill, people like me, your brain lets it in just like that. But when you say, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with life, I'm just a loser, it lets that in too. So today, I'm going to focus on making something really familiar. And that is knowing that you are enough. You know, I've been a therapist, amazingly, for 30 years, and it didn't take me long at all to work out that when people come in with a list, here's my list. I can't sleep, I'm anxious, I eat too much, I fight with my partner, I can't seem to control my kids, and I'm always getting into trouble at work. Can you fix my shopping list? They go, yeah, because I know what's behind your shopping list. You just don't think you're enough. So when I work with bulimics and compulsive shoppers and hoarders and drug addicts and alcoholics, I've never met an alcoholic or a drug addict yet in 30 years who ever thought that they're enough. And they always say, you know, I drink to forget. And bulimics eat a lot because of this space inside, this emptiness. And shopaholics and hoarders are trying to fill this emptiness here that says, I'm not enough. I'm not smart enough, I'm not attractive enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not successful enough, I'm just not enough. And I see that as a sickness. And I see clients come into my office every day and they all have the same thing. I just don't think I'm enough. I work with movie stars, Olympic athletes, rock stars, models. You know, we can look ourselves at the Amy Winehouses, the Whitney Houstons, the Heath Ledgers, Michael Jacksons. And they didn't die of drugs. They didn't die of alcohol. They died because they felt so not enough that they had to use substances to numb the pain. And you can't treat the alcoholism. You have to treat the feeling inside of I'm not enough. And I went to someone recently who was a chronic alcoholic and had never got married. He was 62. And he kept saying, yeah, but you know, if I wasn't an alcoholic, I could be married, but no woman would put up with how much I drink. And I'm like, no, you've got it the other way around. So I talked to him and he said that his parents didn't like him. He never had a birthday. They treated him as if he didn't matter. And when I asked him what was really the problem, he said, I have no love in my life. I've never had love in my life. No one has ever loved me. And I said, I can see that, but you know, it's never too late. You now have to fall in love with you. And you can have a relationship, you can have everything, because you're not an alcoholic. You just don't think you're enough. And I made him say, I'm enough, I'm enough. It was quite hard at first. He wouldn't say it. He cried. He got really upset. But then he began to go, I am enough. I've always been enough. And I said, every time you want to pick up the bottle, just go, I'm enough. I don't need that, because that doesn't make me feel enough. That makes me feel not enough. He never went to AA. He never took medication. He just stopped drinking overnight by saying, I'm enough and I don't need that. And if I drink that, does it take me towards being enough? No, it takes me away from it. And within a year, he was married. I went to his wedding, and it was a beautiful thing to see how just beginning to know that he was enough changed his life. So here's something else to consider about I'm enough. It's not unfamiliar. You might have made it, but does anyone know a baby that's born that says, I'm not enough? I better not wake up the house at 5 in the morning, because they don't like that. I better not ask for food. I better not throw up all over this clean white t-shirt because it might upset my mum. No, they don't care. Babies are born knowing they're enough, because when every single one of you was born, let me tell you what happened. Your mum looked at you, your dad looked at you, the doctor looked at you, the nurse looked at you, people came to look at you and went, oh, this baby's perfect. 5 fingers, 5 toes, 2 eyes and ears. And when your mother pushed you along in the stroller and someone went, oh, what a cute baby, you didn't go, don't look at me. I'm having a really bad day today. I've got milk spots, my hair's a mess, and I just thrown up and I've got a full diaper. Babies don't do that. You look in the pram and they kick their little legs and they smile that gummy smile and go, another person celebrating me. And no one in this room didn't do that. No baby says, I ate a cookie, I better run around the nursery for 3 hours because I'm so bad. No baby says, today I'm going to try really hard not to eat and be perfect, because they think they are perfect. You know, babies have no problem leaving food. Even if you give them chocolate, when they've had enough, they just stop. So I'm enough. It isn't actually unfamiliar. You've made it unfamiliar, but when you were born, it was a massive part of who you are. Do you ever meet a baby that says, I just can't get to grips with this walking. I think I'm going to quit. I keep falling over, or, every time I try to eat a banana, I seem to put it in my ear and in my hair, so I think I'm just going to stop trying to feed myself. No, they just keep going because of the knowing that they're enough. Unfortunately, it does start to go away. We have teachers that say, everyone else in the class can write their name. Why can't you? We have parents that go, well, your brother, he can ride a bike, and your sister, she doesn't make a mess when she eats, and your cousin, they're really good at reading. And so we start to compare ourselves, and it's a terrible thing. But if you knew that you were born knowing that you're enough, and all you had to do was put back what was already there, then your life would change. So I'm going to tell you a story. So many years ago, I was in LA, and I was working on a show, and my producer rang me and said, could you please go to Beverly Hills, because we have this major movie star who's falling apart, and if he doesn't turn up on the set tomorrow, it costs $10,000 a minute to film this show, and if he doesn't turn up, we're royally screwed. And you seem to be able to handle these people, so could you go and see him? I'm like, sure. And they said, now, what kind of car have you got? So I've got a red Mustang. It was a really cool convertible. I went, oh, no. You cannot put that on his driveway because he can only have Jaguars, thank you, or Porsches. So I'm like, okay. So I've got I thought it was a rather lovely Mustang. I drove along to this big, massive, amazing mansion in Beverly Hills, and I hid my little inferior car around the corner. I couldn't even put it outside his house. And I rang the bell, and he opened the door. Most movie stars don't, but he opened the door, and he went, I don't know why you're here. I don't know why they sent some Brit to fix me. Do you know I've been in every rehab, every clinic, I've seen every therapist in LA, and no one can help me. Well, that's an interesting belief. I said, no, I can help you. Anyway, we walked into this amazing house, and I said, wow, I love your house. He went, oh, I hate this house. My neighbors are hell. There's that word. And I'm moving. And then he said to me, you look a bit like my fourth wife. I said, thank you. He said, don't thank me. He said, she was the biggest disappointment in my life. Okay, so he's had 4 wives. They've all disappointed him. Hates his house. Can't have anything except a Porsche on the drive. And then we go into the den, and he's got a BAFTA, which is the equivalent of an Oscar. And I'm like, oh, you have a BAFTA? He said, that's a curse. Do you know what that is like? Getting a BAFTA. He said, every time I make a film, I've got to get another BAFTA, and it's now a curse to me. But I wish I'd never got it, because I just feel this pressure all the time, because I'm a BAFTA-winning actor. And I went, oh, I know what's wrong with you. He went, no, you don't. And I said, I do. I know exactly what's wrong with you. He said, what is it then? I said, well, you just don't think you're good enough, do you? And he said, really? Is that true? I'm like, come on, you know it's true. 4 wives that disappointed you, this incredible house that you hate, the Ferrari on the drive, the BAFTA is a curse. He was very overweight too, and I said, it's you. If I was a doctor, I'd go, okay, I'm a doctor, I'm diagnosing you right now, this is your illness, you don't think you're enough. Would you like a cure? Here's my prescription. Tell yourself you're enough. But first, tell me a bit about your life. He said, well, I was raised in a trailer park. We had no money. My mum was a nurse, but she worked at nights because she got more money. My dad was in construction. And of course, in the winter, often when it snowed, there was no work. And I used to make my dad's dinners because my mum was working nights. And he had a construction worker's dinner, meat, potatoes, vegetables. And I had bread and milk. Every night, bread and milk. But I cooked this dinner for my dad, and I never got it. And I said, well, did he share it? He went, are you kidding? My dad gave the leftovers to the dog right in front of me to show me that that's what I was. And I went, well, that's where it's come from. Let's look at this little boy. Mum's working nights, and all a child can think is, if my mum loved me, she'd be here. She prefers work. Because they haven't got the intellect at 5 to work out what's going on. A child can only think one thing, my mum isn't here, I don't have a dad, we don't have money. Why is that? Oh, it's because I'm not lovable enough. Otherwise, we'd have money, and my mum would be here, and my dad would be nice. My dad prefers the dog because I'm not enough. All children turn it inside, because if a child works out, and the parents are not very good, that's too scary, so they blame themselves. I said, okay, So you can see where this comes from. Mum's not there, dad likes the dog, you get inferior food, you live in a trailer, and you think you're not enough. And that's why you've become famous, by the way, because you believed if you're a famous actor, everybody would love you. And finally, you'd think you're enough. But it doesn't work, because everyone does love you, including the 4 wives, but you don't love you. And the voice in your head is, I'm not enough. I said, so let's fix it. So he happened to hoard a lot of stuff too. Classic symptom of someone who thinks they're not enough. And having had 4 wives, he had a lot of lipstick in his house, a lot of eyeliner, luckily for me. So we went around and I wrote it on his mirrors, I am enough, all over his house. It was a big house too. And I took his phone and I put on his phone alerts, I am enough. And it pinged every morning and it pinged every night. And I said, look, you can write it on your hand, write it on your t-shirt, write it on a cushion. I want you to say every morning, I'm enough, especially in the shower. What else are you going to say in there? I've run out of conditioner. You might as well take that time, we all shower every day, to say, I'm enough. Wire it into a habit and write it on your bathroom. So as you clean your teeth, you go, oh, there's that thing. I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough. I said, you must say it over and over again, because you're going to make what is unfamiliar, knowing you're enough, so familiar that it stops being what you say and it becomes who you are. So he promised he would do it. It was better for him. He'd done all those other things. Anyway, weeks passed. I was working on my own show. He was working on his show. And I was walking to my trailer. I was like walking along. And I saw a man only about as far ahead of me as that chair. And as he got closer, first he undid his pants, then he undid his shirt. I'm like, wow, is this guy going to flash me on a movie lot in Beverly Hills? Where's security? But then I realized it was him. And he went, look, I've got so thin. I've got a six-pack. I've got a flat stomach. Because I say I'm enough, he said, you know what's amazing is I stopped eating donuts, I stopped binging, I just say I'm enough every day, and I seem to have fallen in love with my body, and I've stopped abusing it. I said, well, that's happened. He went, no, but guess what else? I'm like, what? He said, I've sold the Porsche, and I've got a Mini, because I'm not a fat, cranky bastard anymore, and I don't need it. I said, and he said, and guess what else? I'm going out with a hairdresser. He said, I've never had a girlfriend that wasn't a model or an actress. He said, it's so normal. I'm just happy. Who would have thought those 3 words would change my entire life? I said, well, they do that. Their strength is in their simplicity. It heals your soul. When most of us wake up and go, I'm a goddess, your brain goes, you're not a goddess. You've got cellulite. And what should be up here is actually down here. So I don't really think you're a goddess, but it's you saying that. When you drive around town going, hey, yeah, I'm a rock star, I got my rock moves, your brain goes, but you're driving a car that's 15 years old and you share an apartment. You're not really a rock star, come on. But when you say, I'm enough, I'm enough, I'm enough, your brain goes, of course you are. That's how you were born. Why wouldn't you be? And so for him, it really healed his soul. There's nothing that I'm enough can't heal. It was so simple, but his mind let it in. So anyway, many, many months passed, and he called me, and he said, hello, it's me. Guess where I am? I said, I honestly don't know. He said, well, I'm in Iceland, and I'm fishing, and guess what else? I said, tell me. He said, I'm happy. I've never been so happy in my entire life. I'm just sitting with a fishing rod in a freezing cold place, and I'm so happy. And I said, well, good. And, you know, some of you here might go, you know, I know this, I've seen your YouTube, I've read your book, I know about I'm enough. But I want to ask you something else. What about your children? What about your parents? Or the people you're with? What about your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend? What about other people's children that you influence? You know, I'm enough isn't just for you. And everybody here says, I'd love to change the world, but that's really a big ask. Changing the world? I change people just one heart and one soul at a time. And I change them because I live, I'm enough. I say it in the shower every day. I don't go, oh, I'm getting a bit old, or, oh, this isn't quite the body I had 10 years ago. I just say I'm enough all the time, and I feel it. And I have it in all the mirrors in my house. So a couple of years ago, a plumber came to see me, and he went, why have you got that written on your walls? I said, well, you know, it's my philosophy. I really think that if every person thought they're enough, their children would go to school knowing they're enough. And those children wouldn't bully, and they wouldn't get bullied. So it's my philosophy. And he went, oh, well, you know, I've just got married and moved to a little village, and my son is really unhappy, really, really unhappy, and he's very angry. I've got a really angry kid. So shall I go home and write that on his mirror? I'm like, no, because you're dorky dad. But put it on the fridge, put it downstairs, write it downstairs and pretend it's for you. And he will see it and he'll let it in. It will happen quite quickly if you have it all over the house. Anyway, I must be the only person in England whose plumber couldn't wait to come back, got the part, and didn't even overcharge me, because he said, oh my God, it's changed my life. He said, my son, he said, he's still a nerd. He's a happy nerd. And he's got some happy, nerdy friends, and he's got a little happy, nerdy club, and he's so different. He said, but my wife, who was going through the menopause, is also completely different. She's happy too, because it's on the fridge, and every day at breakfast, we all think it. And I loved that. You know, I wrote that on my mirror. It affected my plumber. It affected my plumber's wife. It affected my plumber's son. And my plumber said, do you think when I'm fixing someone's bathroom, should I write it on their mirror? I said, one day, possibly not quite yet, but soon the movement will gather momentum and it will be on everybody's mirror. And so I want you to do this not just for you, but for all the people around you. I have many, many teachers who write to me and say, you know, I studied with you, and now I say, I'm enough in front of the class. Every day our whole class stand up and say, I'm enough. I will always be enough. I have many doctors who say the same thing. I have a few mental hospitals who say, you know, we've now got that all around the walls, and we encourage the patients to say it because it seems to empower them. So let's all do it now. I want you all to say out loud, in your own language, I don't mind. I want you to go, I am enough. And I want you to say it like you really mean it. I want to really hear it, because we're going to keep doing this till I feel you've really got it. I'm enough. I have always been enough. And I always will be enough. And now that I know that I'm enough, everybody knows it too. You see, here's the thing about I'm enough. When you know that you're enough, you don't have to try to make someone like you. You know, with so many women who go, I want to find a great guy, so I'm going to get my hair done and my nails done, and I'm going to go on a diet, I'm going to get a great outfit, and I'm going to get everything waxed off, and I'm going to spend a fortune. And you don't have to do any of that. You just have to go, hey, I'm enough. I'm a great person. I deserve love. I'm worthy of love. I know I'm enough. He will too. And believe me, I will work with a lot of models who've got everything waxed off and they look amazing, and they're not happy because they don't feel good enough, because they're on a race with no finishing line. You know, people who try to be perfect are, without question, the unhappiest people in the world, because there's a finishing line. It says, run towards that. Oh, I'm just going to move it over there. I'm going to move it over there. It's gone over there now. And they can never win that race because they can't even complete it. And I see sometimes men who go, you know, I want to find a great girl, so I'm going to act like I've got more money and rent a great car and pretend. Don't pretend, just be you. You're enough. And you know, when you know that you're enough, you do better at work. The people that employ you know that you're enough. The people that work with you know that you're enough. And some people say, but surely if I know I'm enough, I'm going to lie on the couch and eat potato chips all night. No, quite the opposite. When you know you're enough, you are inspired to go out there and get the life that you should have. You can actually ask for more money because you know you're enough. You can go for a better job. You can take that interview you thought you couldn't have. You can get your own startup and get customers to fall in love with your product if you know that you're enough, you can stay in the same relationship. Instead of trying to make other people like you and believe in you, all you have to do is like you and believe in you. And after all, that's how you were born. Babies are like puppies. They run up and go, hey, here I am. Do you want to celebrate me? But if you kick them enough, they go and hide behind the fridge and go, actually, I don't think you like me after all. Puppies, kittens, babies, they know they're enough. And unfortunately, schools and many parents do a really bad job of making us feel we're not enough. So let me just quickly recap how your mind works and put it into I'm enough. Your mind does what you tell it to do. Tell it I'm enough. I can go to that interview and be phenomenal because I'm enough. I can get a pay rise because I'm enough. I can present the case for what I have to offer. I can really find my unique skill set. I can find love and keep it forever because I know I'm enough. Now, when you tell your brain that, giving it a very clear picture to work towards, your mind is like a missile. It will go towards the pictures in your head. And of course, the wonderful thing about the mind is two things, that as you move towards your potential, guess what happens? It moves, and it moves again. And none of you in this room could have any idea of what your potential is because it expands as you move towards it. And once it expands, it never goes back. You know, I was the most insecure kid. I thought I was hideously ugly. I thought I was stupid. I couldn't have even, in my wildest dreams, imagined standing on a stage, loving it, and talking to people like they were all my best friends. But I began to tell my mind what I wanted. And I started with I'm enough. And of course, the pictures I have in my head are I'm enough. The words I say are I'm enough. Your mind cannot hold conflicting beliefs. When you're going, I'm a loser, I'm stupid, I'm not successful enough. You can't have that picture when you're going, I'm enough, I've got a skill, I was born enough, I will die enough. I'm not the weight on the scales or the inches on the tape measure. I'm not the figures in my bank account. I'm not the figures of my age. I'm not the labels I'm wearing. I am enough. So you see the pictures in your head are changing. The words are good. Your mind understands that what you want is to know you're enough with such unshakable conviction that everyone else knows it too. And finally, what are you making familiar? I know I'm enough. And as I know it, everyone else knows it. And if they don't, well, that's not my problem. I know it. And what are you making unfamiliar? I don't think I'm enough. I couldn't possibly do that, go there, ask for that. So remember, your mind loves what is familiar. But you know what? None of us are running around in diapers anymore, so we clearly made that unfamiliar. We will manage to feed ourselves. So you can make anything familiar if you choose. Choose to make I am enough familiar. So let's say it a few more times until I know that you're familiar with it. Because if you do something enough, one more time, I'm enough. I'm enough. I want you to shout it out. I'm enough. Louder. I'm enough. And louder still. I've always been enough. I've always been enough. Until the day I die, I will always be enough. Until the day I die, I will always be enough. Because that's who I am. I'm enough. So thank you for listening. And here's one more thing to make familiar. Don't listen to this stuff and go home and go, that was interesting. Do it. Check out my next video here.